Hi everybody, welcome back, and if you're new here, well, welcome to the channel. Today we'll be reviewing a book entitled How to Read the Egyptian Book of the Dead by Barry Kemp. Put my finger on it there. This book, in short, does exactly as the title implies. It gives the reader an explanation into the passages found within what is now known as the Egyptian Book of the Dead. This book also goes into the explanation as to what the Egyptian Book of the Dead is, but does also primarily focus on a select number of spells found within this Egyptian text and provides the reader with the interpretations and explanations needed to gain a basic understanding of their meanings and reasonings for them being included in this funerary text. As for why I chose to read and review this book, I was required to read this book while taking a class in ancient history taught by none other than the great Dr. Mark Marabello at Shawnee State University, where I earned my bachelor's degree this year, spring 2023. This book was required strictly to gain a further understanding in what is the complex nature of the Egyptian religion, afterlife, and funerary practices. As per why I'm reviewing the book, I am planning on focusing on ancient history as I pursue my master's degree at Marshall University, starting this fall, 2023. And I do believe this book, as it was for me, is a great introduction to the subject that is the Egyptian Book of the Dead. Now, onto the book itself. This is a paperback book. It is not a particularly long book. You can see here, it's just not very long. The fact that it does not like to lay open on its own, I'll show you here. Excuse my highlights. Which mine is a little more broke in now. I've used it several times. Really just doesn't like to lay open at all. This is not a particularly big issue, considering the book is so small and thin, so it's pretty easy to hold in your hand. I've read kind of thicker books that want to just slam shut. Again, mine's a little wore out. I've used it several times for researching papers and such, meaning it has become easier to lay open towards the middle of the book, as I just kind of showed. But it is mainly because it is broken in. So if it's brand new, it's not going to stay open quite that much. As of now, it is not available in hardback. Now, the paper that the book is printed on is kind of like you'd find in like a novel. That's what it reminds me of. Kind of this yellowish tinted, smoothish type of paper. I did not find the size of the print of this book to be an issue whatsoever. It was rather a good size for the size of the book itself. Wasn't too big, but it wasn't too small either. Currently, this book sits around $20 on Amazon. As you can see, I bought it for $11.95. This was spring of 2020 when I bought this book. So it has went up a few dollars since then, since I bought it. The number of pages is 125 pages from front to back, which is a relatively short read considering the amount of information found within the book. Again, a very good introduction to the subject. The publisher of this book is W.W. Norton, who's based in New York. The company actually turns 100 this year in 2023. It's pretty exciting. This publisher mainly deals in educational books such as this. Therefore, I would consider them to be a pretty reputable publisher. The author, Barry Kemp, is an archaeologist with a bachelor's degree in Egyptology from the University of Liverpool. He has been teaching at the University of Cambridge since 1962, so he's been in the game for quite a while. He has published many works on the subject of Egyptology throughout his career, such as, excuse me as I read them off here, Ancient Egypt, Anatomy of Civilization, published 2018. Ancient Egypt, All That Matters, 2015. The City of Akhenaten and Nefertiti, 2012. The Egyptian Book of the Dead, here, 2007. Ancient Egypt, Anatomy of a Civilization, 2005. Also in 2005, 100 Hieroglyphs, Think Like an Egyptian, and the first edition of Ancient Egypt, Anatomy of a Civilization, as I just previously mentioned, came out in 1989. Aside from these books here, he has many other publications in various academic journals. This book, as far as the review goes, as previously mentioned, is a short introduction to the subject that is the Egyptian Book of the Dead. It is not an outright explanation of the entire subject, as that would encompass many books and years of research to gain a complete understanding of that subject. I only really found one issue with this book, and as while reading the book, it does seem that the author sort of talks down the Egyptians and their beliefs a bit, almost asserting a sense of superiority in Western beliefs, which I did find quite odd, as this is not typically something that you find in a scholarly text on a subject such as religious studies. Such as this one. Regardless of one's beliefs, when researching such matters, it is best to remain as unbiased as possible. I do not believe that the type of comments that were made in the book that led to this conclusion on my part, I don't think it really deters from the information found within the book. It was just sort of odd. In conclusion, I do highly recommend this book, as mentioned before, to anyone who is interested in the studies of the ancient Egyptians, not only the religious or funerary practices, but in the culture in general. As to understand most civilizations, and especially ancient civilizations, I find the best way to do so is to understand their religious beliefs, as this typically gives the researcher a better insight into the daily lives of that civilization. It really brings things together. So why would they do this? Why was this normal? Well, a lot of time, if you understand their religion, or even if it's just a basic understanding, don't have to be an Egyptologist to understand the Egyptian religion, even in its most basic sense. But again, I do find it really does help. Overall, I will give this book a 9 out of 10. Again, aside from that one issue that I just mentioned, it was an absolutely great introduction to the subject of the Egyptian Book of the Dead, how to interpret and understand the passages found within it. All right, guys, that will conclude this book review. If you haven't already, like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you never miss another video. Leave a comment down below. Questions, complaints, let me know. Thank you guys for watching.